to other duties as assigned. I'm excited about this new 3-part series we're going to do because it is the one topic that I feel like as an administrator I've spent the most time really diving into, and that is the master schedule. When I took over in my role 11 years ago, master schedule was number one on the top of the list of things that I was supposed to do and to know and to live. And really immersed myself in it and learned a lot about it. And I'm looking forward to sharing kind of some of the tricks that I've learned. I think I've had a great opportunity to work with different folks in our guidance department, and so I've learned from them, and we've kind of worked through some different things together, and we've evolved and gotten better. And hope that you'll like all these 10-minute podcasts. I'm not going to teach you to build the master schedule in 10 minutes, but what I am going to do is give you some insight, maybe give you some background into things that worked for me, and you might see something that might work for you. So we're going to break into 3 podcasts, kind of the preseason, kind of the stuff that leads up to the building of the master schedule, kind of the in-season, kind of really the nuts and bolts of gathering all of the information, and then the kind of the playoffs, the postseason. The most important part is when you kind of put all those pieces and make the master schedule work. So we'll kind of break it into 3 chunks, kind of chronologically. So I think that's one of the things that I would want to start with is how important a timeline is. It's one of the things we set every summer. We sit down and we look at kind of our plan for the year from a scheduling perspective, and we're already, it's October right now here, and we're already planning for 25-26 for the next school year. And so we always are thinking that way. We've actually started, we're already pretty well into our process. So we have a timeline laid out. We start with gathering information from teachers and departments, and then we go all the way down to, when is the last time a kid can change their schedule? When are we starting to make kind of manual changes way into May? So we have and we lay that out. And I would encourage you, and I'll talk about those steps along the way, but I would encourage you, if you're on a team that's going to work on the master schedule, that you definitely, even if you're by yourself, having a timeline helps you kind of keep track of where you need to be. As part of that process, as you're doing the master schedule, I would encourage you, if you get the opportunity to go do a training, to go work on the master schedule with some experts. That was really good. I've had the opportunity to do that. We host, we're a power school, that's our SIS, so we host a power school training in the fall and in the spring, and those are great because I learn from the power school trainers. I pick up something new every year from them. When I was, when I first started, I didn't know what I didn't know, and so there was so much to learn. It was drinking from a fire hose, right? But now I go in and I have very specific questions. I keep track of them throughout the year and try to ask them. But I think more importantly in those trainings, I get the chance to see how other schools are solving problems, how they're structuring their schedules, how they're dealing with certain nuances that we're all kind of facing. And I think I've got a lot out of just those connections. There's a couple folks that I've worked with for most of the 11 years I've done this, and we still reach out to each other outside those times and problem solve and get ideas from each other. So, as you're doing the master schedule, you've got to be focused on you're going to have to make a lot of decisions. And those decisions have to be, you got to do what's best for students, for your staff, and for the school. And to do that, you're really going to prioritize and make some decisions about what are you offering, when are you offering, how many, all of those things are going to go into that. And you're going to there's balance, there's give and take. There is no perfect master schedule. There are going to be students whose classes don't work, and that's okay. They're going to have to make some adjustments, and we're used to that. But that can be hard conversations with kids. Hey, these 2 AP classes are at the same time. You're the only person who signed up for both. I'm sorry, you're going to have to make a choice, and that's going to happen. And you just need to understand that, and you have to talk through those situations. So like I started with, the timeline is most important. One of the very first things we do in this process is I start the year with a teacher survey. Hey, is there anything I need to know as the person creating the master schedule about what, to help you? And some teachers will tell me things like, hey, I coach a spring sport at the middle school. It'd be great if I could have a prep at the end of the day. Or, hey, the maximum number of sewing machines in this room is 28. So that really needs to be the cap on the class. And I ask teachers to give me that information every year. It's a good reminder for me. It helps me as we talk about cleaning up our data later. We use that information to really drive what's going to go on. And so that teacher survey gives me a lot of information. It's a way we jumpstart this whole process. Then the next step for us is building out our course handbook. Ours is called the Pathfinder. We went a few years ago. It used to be a paper PDF that had every page, and we print them off. And we realized nobody was reading them. And so we adapted, and we've turned our PDF and our docs into a Google site. And so it's more interactive. It's got pictures, it's got videos, it's got flow charts. It's much more visually appealing. It still has the nuts and bolts that were in the Pathfinder courses, policies, procedures, grad requirements, all of those things. But now it's a much better format. So one of the fall things that we're doing on our timeline is we're updating the Pathfinder. We're making updates to courses from the DOE, and we're taking that information. We share that with our departments. We ask our departments for pictures and videos and all kinds of things to kind of spice that video or that website up so that it's interactive for kids and parents. It's a really good resource. I have it bookmarked on my computer, and I use it all the time. And I know other people reference it as well. We use that course catalog, and we work on that Pathfinder as we're having department chair meetings. I had one today, and we sit down and we talk about, hey, based on the changes and the things that are going on in your department, what classes do we need to make any changes? Are there any proposals for new courses? Are there any classes that just aren't working or need revamped? Do we need to go a different direction? And so we're making those decisions. We're having those kind of conversations. We're asking questions about, hey, are kids getting properly placed? Are the prerequisites for the course appropriate? And so we go through all those things, and we kind of make sure that we're having a really open communications. We involve our department chairs a lot in the process, and that's really good because to me, it allows us to gather that teacher voice in the process. A lot of times I'm asking individual teachers questions, but I definitely rely on the department chairs a lot, and you'll hear that throughout this process. Once we get to that point and we've got the Pathfinder cleaned up, we'll share that with our school board, usually in December, and share with them the changes we're going to make just so that they are aware of what's going on at the high school. Our curriculum is, lots of it's dictated by the state, but how we really make it better and package it to our students is really important. And so what we do in December is our priority scheduling night. We gave it a really slick name like priority scheduling that makes parents and people think that if they don't show up, they're going to miss out. It's our best attended parent meeting of the year at our school, and we get 8th graders through juniors, and their parents will come for presentations. And the way we structure it, and this has evolved over the years, the way we structure it is we begin with an opening meeting, and in that opening meeting we talk about kind of the big things that are going on at Plainfield in terms of classes and things like that. And then we have, that's about a 15 or 20 minute meeting. It's very short. And then we break out by grade level. And we have, the rising freshmen, rising sophomores, rising juniors, rising seniors. They have 4 different locations in the building they go to, and they get individual walks through the scheduling process and the course decisions they're going to have to make because they are specific to grade levels. In our building, juniors take U.S. history, so we're going to have that conversation in that junior meeting about which U.S. history class makes the most sense. And that's a really important part of that. And then we have a curriculum fair where we invite teachers and programs to set up in the hallways and recruit and talk to kids and answer questions of parents so they can better understand our programming. We put up posters in classrooms, so teachers who teach courses that are part of a pathway We have posters up in the rooms that kind of talk to kids about, hey, this is the level 1, this is the level 2, this is the level 3, this is the level 4. And that really helps, again, with recruiting and helping kids understanding, hey, if I'm in this class, here's what I take next. We also encourage our teachers to have conversations. If you're an Algebra 2 teacher, talk to kids about what math makes sense for them overall, holistically in the class, based on, kind of talk about different pathways. And then I always tell kids and parents to talk to their teachers. Ask your math teacher, hey, based on how I'm doing your class, what math class do you think makes sense for me next year? And that's not perfect, but it tends to work really well because you get an insight of somebody who's working with your student on a daily basis. So that's really the lead up. And we end that process with a Google form that the kids complete right before Christmas break. And that allows us to gather their choices and what they're feeling makes the most sense for them right now. And then once they finish that process and they make those decisions, then we come back and then we're right in the middle of it and we're really into the heart of the scheduling season. Hope you got a little bit out of kind of the preseason and the lead up to the schedule, master schedule building, and then we're going to talk next time about what comes next.